Hello, I am Claire, and today we will be talking about abortion in Texas and some of the specifics about Senate Bill 8 and what it means for Texans. So, what led to Senate Bill 8, also known as SB 8? We start in 1854. This was the first time that it was made a crime to, quote, procure the miscarriage of any woman being with child, end quote, from the Texas State Law Library. It was an act that was added to the general laws of Texas in the Acts Concerning Crimes and Punishment section. In 1970, we get HB or House Bill 140, and in this bill, we get the definition of abortion according to the laws moving forward. So, quote, abortion is meant that the life of the fetus or embryo shall be destroyed in the woman's womb, or that a premature birth therefore be caused, end quote, from section 1 of HB 140. We now move on to 1973, when the Supreme Court case Roe v. Wade happened. When this happened, women now had the right to privacy in regards to the state and their choice of abortion. States could only step in if the mother's health was threatened after the first trimester. Abortion bans were now unconstitutional, undoing everything that Texas had put into place to ban these abortions between the years of 1854 and 1972. After this, we see in 1992 that they added the undue burden standard. This allowed states to restrict but not ban abortions. They couldn't make it too severe for women to still have access to abortions. So, while this happens, we see some bills be placed between 1999 and 2017 because of this undue burden standard. Some examples of the bills that were passed are in 1999, parents of minors who were trying to get abortions had to be notified now. They could not legally perform an abortion without notifying the minor's parents. And a different one in 2011 required a sonogram to be shown to the patient and for them to play the heartbeat before they could proceed with the abortion. These were all trying to steer patients away from receiving abortions since they could not ban them. So after this, we go into 2021, where SB 8 takes effect. Abortions are now prohibited after a heartbeat is found. SB 8 also allowed civil lawsuits to take place, which we will get into in a second. Along with SB 8, there were some other bills introduced, such as Senate Bill 4, which placed restrictions on abortions medically and in medicine. Also, HB 1280, that would take effect, which those events did take place in 2022. Those events were if Roe v. Wade was overturned, which it was. So, HB 1280 now banned all abortion in Texas. They put criminal penalties back into place for helping at all stages of abortion, so even before a heartbeat, which was not included in SB 8. So, let's move on and let's talk more about SB 8 specifically. What is it? So, Senate Bill 8, also known as the Heartbeat Bill, is, quote, prohibiting abortion after a fetal heartbeat is detected, end quote, from the Texas State Law Library. However, it does allow abortion if medically necessary, but it does not allow any exceptions for rape or incest. It now also allows citizens to turn in others who help and aid or abet the abortion. SB 8 was filed on March 11th in 2021 by Senator Brian Hughes, and it took effect on September 1st of 2021. So, you might say, when do you know that you're pregnant? How do you know? So, typically around 6 weeks pregnant is when you can first hear the fetal heartbeat. The earliest you can find out that you're pregnant is at 3 weeks. This at best would leave Texans with only about 3 weeks to legally get an abortion. So you can test with a at-home, or it is at least recommended that you wait till 4 to 5 weeks, or you at least retest at 4 to 5 weeks, because they can give you better, more accurate results. You can also tell by a blood test at 3 weeks. Unless you have a medical reason for one, you're most likely not going to find out that way. You can also find out 4 to 6 weeks through an ultrasound. Usually you would wait until 6 to 8 weeks for an ultrasound. So unless, like the blood test, you have a medical reason, you probably also will not find out that way. It's also cutting it really close, which is the point of this bill. It's also important to note how pregnancies are dated. So, according to the Public Health of Scotland, quote, the start of your pregnancy is dated from the first day of your last actual period, although you probably conceived about 2 weeks after that, end quote. So, you could technically be 4 weeks pregnant when you think that you're only 2. And you may only be 2, but if you had your period before that, that's the date that they're going to go off legally. So, you may be asking about those lawsuits, and we're not going to talk about them. So, what did they entail? They do not bring a threat to those who are having the abortion, only those who help. So, citizens who turn in individuals who help people get abortions can end up with quote, damages of not less than $10,000 for each unlawful abortion performed or induced, and legal costs and attorney fees, end quote, from the Congressional Research Service. It's not a crime like it was pre-Roe, or how it is now with HB 1280. It is just a civil violation to help or perform after a fetal heartbeat is found. So, some examples you might be wondering of what is helping are performing the abortion, of course, giving money to somebody knowing that they're going to use it for the abortion, or simply giving them their ride to the abortion. And people can turn you in for these things and have a lawsuit, according to SB 8. Thank you for joining us today to talk about abortion in Texas. Have a nice day, y'all.